news.
Wait a second. We're on the video live stream. Good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, and my guests in the studio this morning are already talking. We have to bring that story in because I want to hear it. Dane Rasmussen is the project manager for the Ox Creek Restoration Project. Marcy Hamilton is the deputy executive director for Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. Dane, you were in radio in college.
Yeah, once upon a time. I did.
Bring up that microphone.
Sure.
All right. What were you about to say?
Oh, I did radio in college at Michigan Tech for a year, and it was entertaining. I had a 3 a.m. slot, and
you must have been good.
Entertaining for who?
Well, the studio was in the basement of my dorm, and I would frequently oversleep and miss my time slot.
Oh,
so
no.
The DJ would put a long song on and come up to my dorm and pound on the door and wake me up. I'm like, it's your time. Get down here. So,
did you enjoy it?
I had a great time
being in radio.
I used to play vinyl and
have
a good time.
Do you still have vinyl?
Oh yeah, I've got a big collection. Yeah.
I for my birthday, my wife Stephanie got me this fabulous album. So for forever and a day, I've been looking for the Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham album, their first solo album, and all you could do was find it for like $50 or more on Discogs. But then they reissued it this year, which is amazing. And so she got me that album on vinyl, and so I'm looking forward to listening to that. But she also got me Andrew Bird, and I forget the name of his collaborator. They issued a release, a cover of all the songs on that album. So do you know who Lindsey Buckingham is?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, just dating myself here. Fleetwood Mac. Good morning. How are you both?
Good.
Marcy, what's going on?
Oh, just hanging in there.
Were you in college radio?
I was not on college
Okay.
radio. I don't even know if our college had a radio. So,
well, good morning and welcome. Weather check. How is it out there?
It's wet.
very wet, raining. It is coming down, and the watershed is doing its work.
Yeah, I mean, this is good for us, right?
Yeah, we've been pretty dry this year.
Yeah.
It's the lowest water level since 2005, I think.
Yeah.
Really? Lowest water level since 2005. What kind of issues does that present? I mean, just generally, when our water level is down to that level.
I mean, it's certainly affected our agricultural industry. And in Ox Creek, what I've noticed this year, as opposed to the last few years, is we have vegetation growing in the riverbed that we don't normally have because it's shallow enough that these plants can take root. So it's kind of changing the flow, and that's the natural cycle of the watershed. And so maybe next year is a wetter year, and the course of that stream will change a little bit because now there's plants in the way, and move sediment in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to watch in real time. It's a little sad to see it so drastic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And what I understand is we're getting lake effect rain for the next couple of days because there's a counterclockwise low pressure system moving, just bringing everything in. So eventually this water will get back out to the lake, right?
Yep.
Okay. What will we be left with now that the vegetation has had a chance to? Is it going to change anything dramatically?
No, I don't think so. So it just moves the literal course of the stream, and slowly changes how it flows.
Okay.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is just like the drasticness of it. Like it's so dry for so long, and then we get these rains, like you say, and we're going to get several days of rain and heavy rains, and just that up and down is just causes a lot of issues with erosion potentially.
Oh yeah.
And things like that don't help the stream's health, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about the health of Ox Creek, and we're going to talk about the project to restore its health, get it back to where it needs to be and why and all that. And we'll be talking with Marcy Hamilton and Dane Rasmussen about that here in just a moment on the WSJM Morning Show. We've got to get some news, some weather, some sports, and be back in just a moment, okay? All right, it's the WSJM Morning Show.
Up to $5,000 in cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:05, it's the WSJM Morning Show. 47 degrees and rainfall in Benton Harbor right now. Light rain expected for the next hour here in St. Joseph, in South Haven. In Dowagiac, it's raining for the next hour right now. Let's see, drizzle has started in New Buffalo, and we've got rain in Niles and Buchanan all over the place. It's a rainy and wet day, a raw day, and we're going to have mostly cloudy skies today, a 50% chance of this lake effect rain showers all throughout the day. A high today somewhere around 50, though it's not going to feel like it because we've got the wind out of the west, mostly 10 to 20 miles per hour, but gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, another chance of lake effect rain showers continuing, about a 50% chance, so it will continue. 40 degrees for the low overnight. We're not going to get into the 30s just yet, but we're just about there. Winds out of the west continuing, gusting to 25 miles per hour overnight. Tomorrow's forecast, Thursday, more of the same, although we do have a possibility of some sunshine coming out. Only a 30% chance of that lake effect rain continuing, a high around 50, and the wind out of the west about 25 miles per hour. Friday, by the time we get around to there, the skies are going to clear a little bit, giving us a partly sunny day, but also with that cooler temperatures and some patchy frost possible Friday morning. The low is going to be around 38 degrees, and the high is going to be around 54 degrees. Okay, it's the WSJM Morning Show. We've got the latest news from our WSJM newsroom. The Cass County Sheriff's Office says 2 neglected dogs found in Marcellus Township are recovering after being taken in by animal control. The dogs were found in late September, emaciated and dehydrated. They were found in Marcellus Township on Pioneer Street. One of them, at the time that they recovered the animal, was blind. Veterinarians say the dog's conditions were entirely due to a lack of care, not illness. Both have since gained weight, though the blind dog will need eye surgery. The owner has been identified, and charges have now been sent to the prosecutor's office for animal neglect. The suspect's name is being withheld pending arraignment. A Bloomingdale school bus has been recovered after being stolen early yesterday. The Van Buren County Sheriff's Department says the bus was taken at around 6 a.m. and was later found in Allegan County. Deputies there also arrested the suspect. Why would you steal a school bus? It's kind of weird. Anyway, deputies there arrested the suspect, who has no connection other than the school bus to Bloomingdale schools. The bus was returned undamaged to the district. That's good news by late morning. And the suspect, who has not yet been named by authorities, is in jail. City of South Haven is preparing to install a new 1 million gallon water tank near its Public Works building. Public Works Director Dana Bird says a $9 million federal ARPA grant is helping make that project possible.
We were able to secure some grant funding to demolish an old storage tank that's about 100 years old, and it served the community well, but it was time to replace that.
The tank will serve about 5,000 properties, officials say, in the South Haven Area Water Sewer Authority, and it's set to be lifted into place on Friday, weather permitting. It's painted with the city logo and lighthouse imagery.
We felt like the lighthouse and kind of the lakeshore feel was a great fit for South Haven, and so it was a great time to decide on a nice logo for the community, because it's something that we're all going to have to look at every day, and it's something that we want to be proud of, and it reminds us of about the community.
Bird says it's part of a $42 million 3-year infrastructure upgrade for the area. And Berrien County Cancer Services reminding you the public is invited to its Fright for the Fight Against Cancer event. It's happening this Friday at the Silver Creek Event Center at Four Winds Casino. Director Tiana Essig says the Halloween-themed bash will feature games, prizes, and a cash bar.
We have the Keith Scott Blues Band and Dartboard Compromise as our live entertainment for the evening. And we've got some other fun activities. There will be a costume contest with a People's Choice Award. We'll have some appetizers and a cash bar.
The event raises funds to provide additional medical supplies and emotional support for cancer patients. Discounted tickets are now $20 a piece. They're available online with a link posted at our website. That's WSJM.com. That's a look at the local news that we have right now in the WSJM newsroom. Right now, we also have special guests in the studio. Marcy Hamilton is here. She's the Deputy Executive Director for Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. And Dane Rasmussen, Ox Creek Project Manager. Good morning and welcome, both of you.
Morning.
Morning.
Well, we're talking about water this morning, so we thought we'd do it on a day when it's rainy and windy outside. So you're welcome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good planning.
First, maybe introduce yourselves. Marcy, you've been in a couple of times, but just give people a brief introduction of who you are, and then we'll go to Dane.
Yeah, sure. Marcy Hamilton, Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, regional planning agency for Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties. And we do everything from transportation to economic development, community planning, and I do a lot of the environmental planning around water quality and watersheds and trying to keep our water healthy for everyone to enjoy.
Especially for Southwest Michigan, that's a huge responsibility. So we appreciate you doing that. Also, Dane Rasmussen is here, Ox Creek project manager. We talk a lot about Ox Creek. Give us just an introduction of who you are, Dane.
Sure. My name is Dane Rasmussen, and I work for the city of Benton Harbor as Ox Creek project manager. I started in June of 24, so just over a year and a half now. And we've been plugging away on all these different aspects of Ox Creek. There's a lot going on.
Give us an overview. What's the elevator speech for the Ox Creek project? What is it, and what's it going to do?
Sure. So Ox Creek is a tributary that comes through Benton Charter Township and Benton Harbor. The watershed is actually pretty vast. It begins way out in the agricultural space in the township. That'd be east of Highway 94.
Yeah.
And then it filters through the township and the city, kind of parallel to Pipestone Avenue. The most visible spot where people might pick it up would be by Home Depot. It runs through there, and then it runs parallel right through the two communities. It's really one community. And it's kind of this unique lifeblood waterway that comes right through the community, and it's been neglected for about 100 years. It's got some industrial I don't know
Contamination, damage
over the years, and then we also have a lot of sediment and runoff from parking lots and trash that ends up in the creek. And so we're working on a number of different projects throughout the watershed to address those environmental issues.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, we want to explore a lot of what you just talked about, and we also want to talk about how people can take a look for themselves or maybe even help out. So we're going to talk about that this hour with Marcy Hamilton and Dane Rasmussen about Ox Creek and the restoration thereof. It's all right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We'll come back on the radio in a couple of moments. We've got sports right now, though. We'll continue this interview right this instant on the video live stream.
Sports.
Okay, on the video live stream. So how did you get, maybe Dane, how did you get involved with the Ox Creek project, restoration project? You got voluntold to do so?
No, there was a job opening for this position, and it fit my skill set, and
Yeah.
I lived in the area, and I knew Marcy, and I was like, hey, is this a good gig? And she's like, yeah, do it.
What's your background? Give us a little bit of who you are.
Sure. So I have a bachelor's and a master's in environmental sustainability. I previously worked in forestry for the city of Milwaukee. And then I also worked as a naturalist at Surrett Nature Center.
Okay.
So I've been in environmental education and stewardship for most of my career. It's a passion of mine. Water is a passion of mine. I'm a very avid canoeist.
Yeah.
I like to get out on the Paw Paw River as much as possible. So tying in with Ox Creek was an easy fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the current state of Ox Creek? You mentioned in the intro that it's been neglected for probably 100 years, maybe more.
Yeah. It's considerably better than it was 5 or 10 years ago. The industrial contamination that was identified has been addressed. There's still more work to do, but we know that the water is now no longer being contaminated in that way. But we still have runoff issues and sediment deposit and trash entering from every stormwater entrance. So there's still a lot to do.
When you talk about industrial incursion or contamination, what are we talking about?
There's a facility, Harbor Plating was the business, and that's on Fair Avenue near Campus Q, the billiards place.
Yeah.
And so that facility, that business went out of business, and it was this legacy contamination site that was leaching into the creek. Eagle got involved, and we have a system to capture that contamination, treat it, and so it's no longer entering the stream, which is great.
What do you have, like nickel, cadmium, stuff like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember the whole list, but it's
Okay.
it's a number
And our
of
wonderful PFAS, of
Oh,
course.
Yeah.
PFAS are in there too?
Yes.
Oh boy, the forever chemicals.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Forever. For those who don't know, we've heard it. PFAS, whatever you and forever chemicals. Marcy, give us an overview. What are PFAS?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I don't know. So it was used mostly, I think, as a flame retardant type of chemical. And it was just widespread used in everything. And so, like you said, forever chemical, it doesn't break down, and we're finding it in all kinds of places.
Yeah.
And it's, contaminating our water and our soils. And so it's
But it
getting
never gets to us.
yeah.
Just kidding.
sure.
I'm being
Yeah.
sarcastic
Yeah,
here.
water is, like he said, lifeblood
Yeah.
of the community and of our bodies, and so water is so important. So yeah, these chemicals are really kind of scary, and Michigan is doing a good job of identifying them and spending a lot of resources trying to find out where they are and deal with them. So, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle of dealing with these chemicals.
Yeah, and and the reason I ask for that is you think about Ox Creek and you talk about the area where the watershed itself is vast, and eventually it culminates into what we see as Ox Creek. That's got to be a big job. So where do you even start with a restoration project like that?
In little bits and pieces wherever the funding comes from.
Yeah.
So right now we have a pilot project area for the stream restoration from Highland Avenue up to Britton Avenue. It's about 3,000 linear feet, and that's funded through a grant from NOAA. And that project should take off over this winter or early next spring, and that will address a lot of the remnant debris that's in that area. Valley Drive used to run parallel to Ox Creek, and that was abandoned. But there's still road rubble that kind of clogs up how water flows from the floodplain and the actual creek bed. So that's a big portion of that project coming out. Invasive species control. We have all of the usual culprits of invasive plant species in the Ox Creek corridor. So
Uh-oh.
we're going to address that. And relocating some of the woody debris. There's been log jams in the creek, which are natural and useful to the creek, but we also want to encourage better fish habitat and recreation and education opportunities. So we'll be pulling out some of the woody debris and then strategically replacing it so that it makes for a healthier stream.
Okay. Well, if it's all right, we'll talk a little bit more about that and talk about kind of the overall picture again, encapsulated, and talk about the next steps in just a moment as we get back on the air. Here, it's the WSJM Morning Show.
Beer from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Cloudy skies with lake effect rain showers today. Temperatures staying right around 45 to 50 degrees for most of the day. Tonight, lake effect rain showers continue. We drop to near 40. And then tomorrow, cloudy, lake effect rain showers ongoing with highs still near 50. We'll be back to some sun on Friday. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'll check my fact on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they told me. All right. We're talking about water and water issues, and we have in the studio with us this morning Marcy Hamilton, who's the Deputy Executive Director of the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, and Dane Rasmussen. He's the project manager for the Ox Creek Restoration, and we're talking just a little bit about the overall project and some of the challenges. I mean, you describe the project, and it starts in the watershed. The watershed is east of 94, and basically where rainfall, the water hits the land, the soil, and it eventually filters into what we see as Ox Creek. Maybe describe the project here. What are we getting at? What's the overall goal? What is this project all about?
Sure. So we are trying to restore this creek to a better health quality. I don't, Marcy, if you want to.
Yeah, sure. So overall, it's just, we see this as a transformational project for Benton Harbor. The creek runs right through the middle of the community, and it's been neglected for 100 years. We want to bring it back to be a clean, healthy asset that people can be proud of and enjoy. and fish and recreate in and around it. And so this corridor, we're taking this whole corridor approach to the creek, and not only looking at the health of the creek, but all the properties around it, especially Hall Park, which is the city's oldest and largest park. And we want to, refurbish that and get that back to the communities, be the gem that it used to be, so people can enjoy that. And with the creek next to it, all beautiful. Ultimately, have a trail that connects Benton Harbor all the way out to the Home Depot mall area for transportation and mobility. So there's a big vision there and a lot to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, is the vision then to make this something of an attraction, a natural attraction, something that's here in our area, rather than, this part of the creek is flooded, this part of the creek is contaminated. Don't go in the creek because you're going to get some sort of contamination.
Right. Yeah. The goal is to make it healthy and attractive and an asset for the community. So there's I always tell people it's taken 100 years to get here. We're not going to do this overnight, and it's going to take several years to see this transformation, but it'll be amazing for this community. And like I said, right through the middle of all the neighborhoods and right downtown Benton Harbor around the Arts District. So bringing that it is already beautiful. I mean, if you go down there, it's stunning. You don't even know you're in the middle of a city, and it's beautiful. And so we would just want to make sure it's safe and healthy and benefits the community.
What are the main challenges that you have as part of this restoration?
Funding is always an issue. We've lost one federal grant last February, but everything else has been secured. But the ongoing funding and keep applying and hoping that we can keep this thing moving is a big challenge.
Yeah. How about environmentally?
Yeah, environmentally, like we're seeing now, these kind of drastic rain events, and with seeing those different events happen in more extreme weather, it's kind of challenging when trying to restore this creek, and we have these big rain events that could just blow out what we're trying to accomplish. So we got to be very strategic, and also work more out in the mall area, I guess, around 94 and Pipestone, and address all that impervious surface out there. So we've got projects in line. We've already done the rain gardens at Meyer and at Whiteman. We have plans now with Home Depot and Walmart to put in more rain gardens. So that's a critical piece of this puzzle, to control that stormwater. So when we restore the creek, that it slows that water down and it's not blowing out all the restoration that we're working so hard to do on the creek.
Because ecosystem wise, it's a natural balance, and it takes many years, decades for things to fit the way they do, so that water gets filtered, the course of the water goes a certain way, the habitat gets established, etc. But when you have, like you said, impervious surfaces, parking lots, and the water just runs through there real fast, all of a sudden you got a stripped waterway. Okay. What talk about the rain gardens for just a moment. What are the benefits of those?
Yeah. So the rain gardens are basically where, instead of sending the water in a pipe, and when it rains, it goes in a pipe straight out to the creek. We want to intercept that with an area that the water can go through. We plant it with native plants, which is good for our pollinators too. But for water quality, basically it slows that water down and filters it out. And so it's hitting that creek at a much slower rate. And then that slows it down through the creek and lessens the erosive power of the water. So we're not seeing less erosion and less damage to the creek.
Yeah. What so what are some of the steps in addition to that are going to be taken to restore Ox Creek? What's in the process 2025, 2026?
So the pilot project that I mentioned from Highland to Britain, that's a big chunk. We also have the modern plastics facility is being demolished.
Big piles of rubble there now.
Yeah, it's the whole building's down. They're actually starting to remove the foundation, and that was a contamination site. And so we're very glad to have that. I think it's been sitting empty for 20, 25 years.
You guys keeping an eye on that one as the demolition happens?
Mm-hmm.
How is it looking so far? Is it what you expected?
Yeah. I mean, and that property is right along Ox Creek, and having that gone and having those contaminants removed from that property is going to benefit not just that property, but the creek next to it too.
You ever scratch your head when you look at Ox Creek and you look at Modern Plastics and they've got like, what is it, a cinder block wall separating the two?
Yeah, a big portion of my job when I first started was learning the history, and so I've dived into all these historic maps, and seen that Ox Creek and the Benton Harbor Canal, all of that has been rearranged dozens of times over the last 150 years.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting what we're left with now, and who made those decisions and in what decade and why and where the politics were.
Yeah. So the eventual is how far will the change take it back to what its natural course was a century ago?
Yeah. So from Hall Park downstream, so the confluence of Ox Creek and the Pawpaw River is right off of Graham Avenue by the boat launch down there. Runs right through the Harbor Shores Golf Course. So from there to Hall Park, it's pretty much channelized. It's got hard banks almost the whole way. From Hall Park upstream to Home Depot is the most natural section. And we're working to make it more natural and like I said, deal with those invasive species. And then once you get upstream from 94, it's it's ditches and county drains, so a lot less natural, but still has some good riparian aspects.
Okay.
Yeah, the downstream part from Hall Park down to the confluence, like you said, with it being armored so heavily, we haven't focused on that area for restoration yet, just because it gets tough. We have those industrial uses, and in the creek, there's a reason why they're containing it in those walls so that we could use the land around it. So it's going to be a lot more thoughtful of how we do that, and also really expensive if we decide to start restoring that part of it.
Yeah, because I mean, as you mentioned, you've got interests potentially at odds, but it sounds like you have good partners for the restoration activities that you're undertaking at this point.
Yes.
Would you say yes on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a lot of partners. Eagle from the state has helped. NOAA, we have local partners. U of M.
Yeah, and even locally, we're really trying to engage the community, and a lot of community organizations, and Activate Hall Park is being a big part of this, and they're helping us plan events there. We're going to be doing another Earth Day event this spring at Hall Park, and that's really what it's about: is getting the community involved and bringing back this asset to them to be able to enjoy.
Yeah, when you say community involvement, how can they get involved to help with the restoration?
So the first stop I would recommend is go to our website, which is sustainoxcreek.org. And on there, you'll find our revitalization plan, which we just had approved by the City Commission. And that gives the whole overarching goals and strategies for what we're trying to accomplish. There's 7 elements in there, and they're all broken down. There's some really fabulous maps that show where all these projects are happening. So that's a great source of information. And also where we post our upcoming events, as well as on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we're talking with Dane Rasmussen, Ox Creek Project Manager, and Marcy Hamilton, Deputy Executive Director for the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. We're talking about the restoration of Ox Creek. I love your website, by the way. From the color scheme to the information that it provides, it's all about improving Ox Creek. The 7 elements that you mentioned. Can I quiz you on them, or you want me to? Oh no, okay, fine. No, I mean basically it's to restore the habitat, increase the resilience. That's 1. Improve water quality and manage that water quality. Create economic redevelopment opportunities that align with ecological goals. We'll come back to that one in a moment. Create and revitalize places to gather, enjoy, explore, and play. I mean, who doesn't like being next to a beautiful creek rather than a swamp? Swamps are fine too. Create, as long as it's clean, create an interconnected system of pedestrian trails, parks, and amenities. Clean up and prevent illegal dumping, littering, and other debris, and then build community capacity and stewardship. So we'll continue talking about improving and restoring Ox Creek, taking it from a place of neglect to a place of opportunity. It's coming up in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show. It's 7:30. We've got the latest Bloomberg financial information, our latest world and national news from ABC, and more. It's all coming up. We'll get back on the video live stream here in just a moment.
Would you call?
All right, back on the video live stream. Sorry, I'm quizzing you about a ton of stuff. I'm just excited to talk about Ox Creek.
Good, me too.
How has it been when you appear before the area governments to talk about these plans?
So I work for the city of Benton Harbor, and I work almost exclusively with them. The Best Benton Harbor, our city's master plan, has Ox Creek embedded in it as far as the goals of the city's future. And so our project and the revitalization plan that we just had approved is an extension of that. So we have great support from city commission, and I think that the community wants this resource brought back to a usable state, especially Hall Park. There's been a lot of excitement seeing the construction there.
Yeah.
If you haven't driven by, I recommend it. It's looking great so far. The new basketball courts have been poured. They haven't put the playing surface on yet, but it's coming in the next couple of weeks. And there will be a paved ADA trail there. So those kinds of amenities people are really excited about. The trail that we've mentioned is a 4-mile trail from Hall Park all the way up to Home Depot. It's going to take many years to do all of those sections, but we're hoping to at least do the first section from Highland to Britain in the next year or two. And that corridor, that pedestrian highway, provides recreation opportunities, but also opportunities for economic development and tourism. There's going to be 3 hotels up by Home Depot, and it's a 5-mile bike ride down to Gene Clock Park. So once that trail is there, there's an opportunity to bring people into Benton Harbor for recreation and tourism.
Yeah, and bringing some of the economic visibility to the economic benefits that it can have as well. How difficult is it when you go into a setting to talk about, okay, hey, we got to put some money in the water here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take investment to get this done. And, we've been very fortunate to get the federal and state support so far at really large levels. I mean, several millions of dollars are being brought in to do this, but it's going to take several million more. Benton Harbor doesn't have a lot of extra funds.
Right.
So the state's really stepped up to help make this happen. But that's the ultimate goal, though, is to help the community of Benton Harbor. These types of projects make it more attractive and a better place for people to live, and for the people living there now, and for more investment to come into the community, so then we can sustain this over time.
So people get it when you start talking about it in that way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the city commission has been extremely supportive of this project, and every time we go to council, to the commission with the next step and then the next approvals, they've been very supportive of this. And the township, talking with the supervisor, Kathy Yates, they've been supportive. We actually, when I first started this project years ago, I started in the township, and so they've been a great partner all along too.
Yeah. When this project is done, what does this look like?
Oh my!
What does done look like?
I don't know if it's ever done. That's why we're trying to build the stewardship, and it's always going to take, we can't neglect it again, right?
Yeah.
It's been neglected. And so now we have to continue investing in it and continue taking care of it. And so building that stewardship ethic, which is that last of the 7 elements, is really large. But we need to make it something that people want to take care of. Again. So I think it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a gorgeous corridor through the city of Benton Harbor, a place, like it says in there, where people can gather and play and recreate and fish and have picnics at the parks. There's other parks planned along the corridor. The trail, I think, is just going to be outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just going to be a gem. It's going to be beautiful along the creek, and just a place that people want to go and be in nature. And it's always amazing to me when you can be in the middle of a city and find those nature places to escape. And this is going to be one of those places.
Yeah. Is there a model that you're following here? Are there other places that we could point to and say they did the same thing, or are we breaking ground here?
No, I think there's been elements of everything that we're doing in other communities. Trying to think of something that would be the most similar.
We used the Detroit Riverfront
Conservancy
as one template for
Yeah.
And that's a totally different
Scale.
scale and ecological setup than Ox Creek. But the concept
Yeah.
of recreation and environmental restoration and economic development, like all
And
of
involving
those.
the community. It has similar elements to it in a community that needs to be revitalized. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for peppering you with
No,
questions, but I'm going to
good.
continue here in a few moments. So stand by. We've got to take a break for news. We're wrapping up the Bloomberg Market Minute. We're going to get a quick check of the weather forecast and then get our update from ABC right here on WSJM.
It's also teaming up with Beyond Meat to increase its products at more than 2,000 stores. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:35. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's raining outside, and it's going to continue raining, and we've got a forecast here. I'll give it to you in just a moment, but first off, it's 47 degrees in rainfall in Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, where it's 48 degrees, South Haven. Let's see, New Buffalo, it's windy conditions. The rain has paused there for a moment. It looks like 47 degrees. Buchanan, it's rain in Niles as well, where it's 45 degrees. The forecast for today does call for a mostly cloudy day. A 50% chance of this lake effect rain showers continuing through the day. A high around 50 degrees, winds out of the west gusting to 35 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, more lake effect rain showers, a low overnight around 40. Gusty winds up to 25 miles per hour. Thursday, partly sunny, a 30% chance of lake effect rain, and a high around 50, gusting to 25 miles per hour out of the west. Still those winds. And then Friday, when we see the rain cease and the winds calm a little bit, we're going to have a chance of patchy frost. Partly sunny sky otherwise. It's going to be a high of 54 degrees and a low of 38 on Friday. Again, we're talking with Dane Rasmussen. He's the Ox Creek project manager, and Marcy Hamilton from the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. We're going to continue talking about Ox Creek restoration in just a few moments. First, our latest world and national news.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Trump said to be wanting nearly $250 million from his own Justice Department. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Sources tell ABC News that President Trump is pushing for a personal $230 million payout from the Justice Department as compensation for the federal investigations he's faced.
Well, I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true.
That money would ultimately come from American taxpayers. The president now in charge of the department that investigated him for allegations of Russian meddling in the 2016 election and mishandling of classified documents in 2022.
The president's pick to head up the Office of Special Counsel Paul Ingrassia has withdrawn his name after many of his text messages were found to be offensive. Long lines outside the Louvre this morning as the famous museum opened its doors to the public for the first time since the robbery of many of France's crown jewels. The wing they were housed in does remain closed. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
WSJM Morning Show continues at 7:38. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll have the latest world news update from ABC. We'll also have the latest from our WSJM newsroom. Former Baroda Lake Township Police Chief Sean Martin has been charged with embezzlement several months after being placed on administrative leave. We'll have the latest on that story from WSJM's Andrew Green. Other news we're covering, the Michigan Department of Transportation says it's listening and keeping community concerns in mind as it finalizes plans to rebuild Main Street in St. Joseph. There's a question, though, about some parking spots. So we'll tell you a little bit about the discussions between the city, the county, and MDOT. And also, if you're in the Benton Harbor area, there's a possibility of a new entertainment venue. It's moving forward, and we heard from Meredith George of St. Joe Wine Shop telling city commissioners this week that she and her partners plan to open the Arts District Wine Bar and Social Club in a vacant building down in Benton Harbor. We'll tell you a little bit more about that and who's involved. That's coming up just after 8 o'clock right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Right now, we've got the latest state news from our friends at Michigan News Network, and then sports.
The Michigan.
Okay, back on the video live stream. Thank you for joining us. We're talking with Dane Rasmussen, Ox Creek Project Manager, and Marcy Hamilton, the Deputy Executive Director for the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. How long have you been working on Ox Creek, Marcy?
Oh, gosh, over a decade.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So, I started off working on the Pawpaw River and doing a management plan for the entire Pawpaw River, which, starts by Pawpaw and flows all the way down here to Benton Harbor out
Yeah.
into the St. Joe. And looking at all the different tributaries, Ox Creek is the last tributary to come into the Pawpaw River. And a lot of the Pawpaw River is beautiful, intact, has wonderful resources, and is very healthy. Then we had Ox Creek, which is out of the whole watershed, the most impacted watershed because of the urbanization and stuff. So I really started focusing on that when I was working on the Pawpaw River and saying, okay, we need to put resources here and address this creek and help it come back to life.
For the person who doesn't spend their lives, their careers looking at a waterway and saying, okay, this one's healthy, this one's not, how do you determine the health of a waterway?
Yeah. So actually, a lot of people focus on the stream itself. It's the land around it that is draining to that creek that's determining its health. And you can have impacts from agriculture, from commercial and industrial development, contamination. A lot of it is the runoff. We've already dealt with most of the pollution coming out of pipes. That's all regulated with the Clean Water Act in the 70s. And so we've actually cleaned up water overall greatly since then. But now we're dealing with this, what we call polluted runoff off of the landscape into our waterways. And so it's if that land around it is being impacted a lot, then that impacts the water quality a lot.
So are there open sores on pollution runoff in that area?
Yeah. So in Ox Creek, our biggest concern is all the impervious surface out around the mall and I-94 interchange there. All those.
How do you address that? Because those aren't going away.
They're not going away. But if you go, we've done studies actually, and this was pre-pandemic, and looking at the parking out there, and we'd go out on Black Friday and look at how much of that parking was actually being used.
Yeah.
And most of it's not being used on some of the busiest days of the year. So we have too much parking lot out there. So our goal is to take some of it out, put it into what we call these rain gardens. And so we have areas where that water can go and be filtered and cleansed before it hits the creek.
I would love if we could take Orchard Mall and just obliterate it, turn it into a garden. Could we do that? Or an orchard even?
Yeah. So that was actually one of the first grants I wrote. We had funding to take out the parking lot outside of the old JCPenney. And if you're looking, it's already becoming naturalized by itself.
It really is. Yeah.
But we were
with a lot of fertilizer from our feathered friends.
Or that too. But we were going to take out that parking lot and put a big wetland in there. And that was going to help a lot. But just the ownership had changed on us. And so we switched gears, and Meyer stepped up to work with us, and we did a great project there. And like I said, now we're working with Home Depot and Walmart and hoping to do the same thing.
Doing it all around that area. How much of a benefit is it when you take out a big parking lot like that?
It's huge. I mean, that parking lot is shedding millions of gallons. I think this, the project that I'm working on, Home Depot, we're going to start hopefully next year. It's like 400,000 gallons of water, a rain event that it's filtering and capturing and slowing down. So it's a huge, huge impact.
What are the invasive species you're dealing with, Dane?
Oh, all the usual suspects. So we've got multiflora rose, which was actually introduced in the 70s.
What is it?
Multiflora rose.
It's actually kind of pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's got a little.
That's the problem with the invasive species. They are pretty. Sorry, go ahead.
No. And it was introduced as a ground cover in I believe in the 70s. And it just kind of takes over entire forests.
Okay.
We've got autumn olive, which I don't remember the backstory on that, but that's a problematic bush. We've got bittersweet and honeysuckle and hybrid cattails.
Wow.
What else am I missing? I haven't seen buckthorn, but wouldn't surprise me.
Hybrid cattails. What is that?
They're it's a different species of cattail that's not native to North America, and it behaves slightly different than the native species, and it just overcompetes the wetlands and takes over the space. So we have some really big cattail marshes in the Ox Creek corridor.
Yeah.
I just had a bunch of cattails pop up in my big rain garden out at Meyer. And I need somebody to come tell me, are they the good ones or they're the bad ones?
Yeah, they might be the Typha X glauca. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking online here, see what the cattail is. Okay, so you've got what, a dozen more?
Yeah. So and most of those invasive species, they have thorns on them, so they're a real pain to work with, by hand. And they're very, they're invasive species. They're there because they're resilient.
Yeah.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with those plants. They don't belong here. They're not supposed to be here.
They're not good for the wildlife.
Right. Yeah. Nobody
Bottom line.
eats them. So it's displacing the native plants. So that's what makes an invasive species a problem.
Yeah.
So removing them by hand is tedious and sometimes requires chemical treatment so they don't sprout back.
Yeah.
It's a very labor-intensive task, and we've got a lot of ground to cover.
And now our partners at the Berrien County Conservation District have been working on this already. They've had some grant funding, and they're tackling the invasive species around Hall Park right now. And we're actually hoping in the spring to do a planting of native plants and use volunteers. So we'll have a volunteer opportunity coming this spring to help with that. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Especially when the community can get involved in that way, it helps. I've found it helps to raise ownership, a stakeholder. You grow new people who say, "Hey, this is part of the watershed. We got to take care of this. We have to steward it." Yep. We're talking with Dane Rasmussen and Marcy Hamilton about Ox Creek restoration. We're going to talk about the Crystal Springs Cemetery here in just a moment. Upcoming tour of the trails there. That's coming up during our Moody on the Market updates. So stick around. We'll have a weather forecast and then be right back.
Read their profiles right now at moodyandthemarket.com.
Cloudy skies with lake effect rain showers today. Temperatures staying right around 45 to 50 degrees for most of the day. Tonight, lake effect rain showers continue. We drop to near 40. And then tomorrow, cloudy, lake effect rain showers ongoing with highs still near 50. We'll be back to some sun on Friday. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:46, it's the WSJM Morning Show. 14 minutes before 8 o'clock, we'll have the latest world and national news from ABC, or local news from the WSJM newsroom. Right now, though, it's time for the Moody on the Market update this hour. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And we're talking about Ox Creek restoration in Benton Harbor, Benton Charter Township, the surrounding area. We're talking with Dane Rasmussen, Ox Creek project manager, and Marcy Hamilton, the deputy executive director with Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. As part of our Moody on the Market update, we want to say thank you for making life in Southwest Michigan better. We appreciate that and the work that you're doing to restore Ox Creek. Let's talk about Crystal Springs Cemetery, and you've got some upcoming events there. Who wants to talk about this? Dane, go ahead.
So, Crystal Springs Cemetery is owned by the city of Benton Harbor, and there were historic trails built in the early 1930s. There actually used to be a driving loop and like a little amphitheater and gardens, and it was this gorgeous place. People used to go down there for lunch.
Really?
And so there's a nonprofit, the Friends of Crystal Springs and Morton Hill Cemeteries, that has been unearthing and excavating these trails, and they've gotten it to a point to where it's traversable. There's about a quarter-mile loop trail. So next week, Tuesday, October 28th, we'll be hosting a tour from 3 to 4 p.m. It'll probably run a little after 4 because we get long-winded.
Yeah,
that's what we talk about.
And the volunteers from Friends of Crystal Springs will be down there to give the history of it. And the north branch of Ox Creek runs through Crystal Springs Cemetery. That's if you've ever been there, you go over the little bridge, and that's the north branch of Ox Creek, which actually comes from out by LMC. The ponds at LMC actually drain into that branch.
Wow.
So yeah, this watershed is just really
massive,
interconnected.
Yeah.
And so if you're available, you want to come out and join us, we would prefer that you RSVP so we know how many are coming. You can do that on our website or Facebook. And it'll be a short tour, and there's also some really awesome springs. There's one that comes out of the grotto, which is this
just natural springs.
Springs, and it's really flowing. It's impressive how much water is coming out of that spring.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Okay, so that's happening next Tuesday.
Correct.
At where exactly at Crystal Springs Cemetery?
So Crystal Springs is on Napier. I forget the exact address, but
Okay.
the main entrance is on Napier. If you come in, we'll have signs that'll point you in the right direction.
Okay.
And parking is along the pathway or the roadways in the cemetery, so we'll have to spread out a little bit.
Okay. Very good. And that'll be an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the trails that are there, a tour of the area. And so they're unearthing trails. How many of these trails are walkable currently?
So the main trail, which used to be the driving pathway, and the pavement's still there. It's just underneath about 8 inches of dirt.
No kidding.
That it's right now there's one loop that's open. And there used to be a series of 6 ponds, man-made ponds. They dammed up that branch of the Ox Creek, and those ponds have filled in with sediments. The dams are still there, so it'll be a really interesting look at how this creek was manipulated in the 1930s, and then how it's kind of renaturalized with that infrastructure still in place.
Yeah. We have a way of doing all kinds of fun things with nature, don't we?
Yes.
That we have to undo eventually because it's in our best interest. Okay. All right. So that's coming up. What time?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Tuesday, Crystal Springs Cemetery. They'll have a tour. They'll have a little bit of a history, a demonstration. And again, if you want more information on that, sustainoxcreek.org. And they'll have a link to RSVP there. They ask that you do so they know how many people they're going to have to handle. All right, that's our Moody on the Market update for this hour. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. Back on the video live stream, we'll continue this interview, and we'll come back here on the radio and conclude the interview in a few moments on the WSJM Morning Show.
Rich Fran and Tara Halsey from Insurance Management Service.
Right. Okay. When you're not restoring Ox Creek, Dane.
Yeah.
I've asked Marcy this question before. We'll ask again. But when you're not restoring the Ox Creek, what do you do?
Oh man, I have too many hobbies.
Awesome.
My fiance and I, we are avid gardeners. So we've converted our whole front lawn to a garden.
Nice.
It's this huge.
Wait a sec. Let's talk about that for a moment because I want to get rid of our front lawn. It's the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
Number one, because it's not grass. It's like weed or something like not weed, but you know. Anyway, so should I convert it to something other?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, you got to get rid of the grass or weeds in your case.
Yeah. Thanks.
And there are a number of ways to do that. I don't recommend using herbicide if you can avoid it. So what we did is we took a black tarp and tarped off our yard for, I don't know, about 2 months. And just let the sun bake that grass.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. And then we tilled it, and we were able to put our garden in. But there's a number of organizations throughout the state, and I think there's some local groups, gardening groups that can help with the technical aspects and what native plants to plug in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're mostly growing food, though, right?
We're doing a vegetable garden, but we're trying to incorporate our rainwater catchment from our house and utilize that. And we're right on the shore of Willow Creek, and so like we're also really water conscious at home too, and what comes from the street, and see if we can slow it down. And
everybody lives in a watershed.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Yeah. That's what I was mentioning off the air a moment ago. Is do you paint the storm drains? And Marcy, you said some of the storm drains are already marked with reminders that what goes through that storm drain is basically what's going to come back into our bodies at some point.
Yeah. So a lot of people think that the stuff going into those storm drains will be treated, but it doesn't. It goes directly to the nearest creek, wetland, ditch area. So that flows and then to the nearest creek and ultimately out into Lake Michigan, where we, swim and drink the water and all
eat the fish and all that.
That's one of the things that, I'm all for a good beach cleanup, but if people really want to make an impact on removing garbage out of our beaches and lakefront, it starts at the storm sewers and all these little tributaries that come through. And that's where the source is of that plastic that's coming through.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll come back and conclude this interview in just a moment, cover anything else that we need to today, and come back in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Guilty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
McGee's Heating and Air. Feel at ease with McGee's.
McGee's gets phone calls every day asking when it's a good time to get a furnace tune-up. The answer is now. Ensure your home's warmth with a professional furnace tune-up from McGee's Heating and Air Conditioning. And by joining their exclusive Care Club, you'll receive biannual tune-ups, priority scheduling, and a 30% discount on repairs throughout your membership. It's the perfect way to maintain your system's performance and extend its lifespan. McGee's proudly serves homes along the shoreline from New Buffalo to St. Joseph, ensuring prompt and professional service when you need it most. Don't wait for a breakdown to address your furnace needs. Contact McGee's Heating and Air Conditioning today to schedule your tune-up and learn about the Care Club. Visit McGee'sHeating.com and feel at ease with McGee's.
McGee's Heating and Air. Feel at ease with McGee's.
Feel at ease with McGee's, your local Bryant Factory authorized dealer.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM-FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:56, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, October 22nd. In a few moments, we'll get our latest world and national news update and the latest local news from our WSJM newsroom. We're concluding our conversation here with Marcy Hamilton, Deputy Executive Director for the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, and Dane Rasmussen, Ox Creek Project Manager. Anything else we need to know on the Ox Creek restoration?
It's a movement, you know. I think one of the things we really didn't emphasize is that this is a opportunity to connect the neighborhoods that are on both sides of the creek. There used to be footbridges that went across, and you know, students used to go across the creek to get to school, and so that's a big part of this whole project, is to draw the community together around this riparian corridor.
Yeah. No, I think about there was a project when I worked for a lawmaker in Florida, Indian River, and restoring that, which had basically been turned into a canal, a straight shot canal, and it was doing absolutely no good for the environment there. And through a number of years, and it's probably still ongoing today, they were helping it return to its natural watercourse way. And that's what I think of here in some areas of Ox Creek. Is that the plan?
Absolutely. Yep. It's been manipulated, neglected, and we're going to bring it back to be healthy.
Okay. And again, if people want to get involved, if they want to get more information, if you want to tour the paths at the north part of Ox Creek, right, at Crystal Springs Cemetery, there's an event next Tuesday at 3 p.m. out at Crystal Springs Cemetery. Pathways from the 1930s that are covered over with, 8 inches of soil now?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, this grotto with the spring in it,
Natural springs,
is phenomenal. You'll just be like amazed to see this. And the groups that's been working to uncover it, it's the amount of labor they put in is
they're out there
amazing.
every week.
That is amazing. We'll have to bring them in and talk with them as well. But you can get more information on that at sustainoxcreek.org. That's their website, sustainoxcreek.org. And on there, you've got, it's a great website with a lot of the information about Ox Creek restoration and the revitalization plan that you have in store. So today, this date, 20 years from now, what does it look like?
I mean, I think the most visual thing will be the trail system. You know, obviously, the restoration will be there, but now you'll actually, at that point, you'll be able to go down into the valley and see it.
So there'll be people there recreating and enjoying it, fishing, hopefully, and maybe even kayaking if the water's high enough.
Right.
Is it safe to eat fish out of the Ox Creek right now?
It has the same restrictions as all the other waterways in our area. So I don't remember the exact count, but the same as the Paw Paw River and the St. Joe River.
Yeah, there's fish advisories for almost all the water bodies, mostly because of mercury and that stuff. So you do need to check with the health department, and they have all that information online of how many fish you should be eating. If you're pregnant, I would say none. But there are pretty restrictions on all the fish.
I'm a pescatarian. I know these restrictions and they drive me nuts. It's like I can only eat a couple of fish a month of that kind. Seriously?
Yeah, last year we had
tofu. Here I come.
We had 2 salmon that we witnessed coming up Ox Creek last year.
Nice.
And they made it all the way up to Crystal Springs. And
is there a breeding ground up there?
No, but that's that's 4 miles upstream up this very small shallow stream, so it was impressive.
Salmon are strong. Okay.
Haven't seen any yet, but it's been low water. So
Yeah,
we'll
very
see.
low water. Okay. Well, I know I have more questions, but we've run out of time. So want to say thank you again to Marcy Hamilton with the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission and Dane Rasmussen, project manager for the Ox Creek Revitalization and Restoration. Thank you both for coming in, and thanks for doing the work that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Absolutely. It's 7:59. We've got the latest world news coming up right now. We'll have a weather forecast. Basically, it's going to be rainy and windy still today, tonight, tomorrow. It's 8 o'clock.
ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston.